On a bright Monday, Lily, Tom and Maya stood in Professor Astro's lab, surrounded by bubbling beakers and whirring gadgets. Professor Astro, with wild white hair, held up a tiny vehicle, the Bod Pod. "Ready for the greatest adventure of your lives?" He grinned. The kids cheered, climbing into the Bod Pod, their excitement barely contained. Professor Astro gave a thumbs up. "I'll guide you from the control room. Your mission? Explore the amazing world inside our volunteer, Dave." On a big screen, Dave waved, ready for his tiny visitors. Lily, Tom and Maya buckled up, a mix of nerves and excitement buzzing in the air. Suddenly, a blue light filled the lab. The Bod Pod hummed and shrank, the world outside growing enormous. Beakers became skyscrapers, and Professor Astro's face loomed like a giant moon. They shrank smaller than a grain of sand, the lab now a blurry landscape. Professor Astro's voice crackled. "Prepare for entry. Dave is about to eat an apple. You're going in with it." The Bod Pod landed on a massive apple slice, sticking like a seed. "Hold on tight, explorers," boomed the professor. The apple slice lifted, darkness fell, and suddenly they were inside Dave's mouth. The adventure had begun. The kids peered out, faces full of wonder. Everything was new, strange, and gigantic. Their incredible journey inside the human body was underway, and they were ready for anything. Inside Dave's mouth, the Bod Pod rocked as giant teeth ground the apple into mush. A waterfall of saliva washed over them. "That's saliva," Professor Astro explained. "It helps break down food." The tongue pushed them to the back of the mouth, and they slid down the esophagus like a wild water slide. The walls squeezed behind them, peristalsis in action, pushing them into the stomach. They splashed into a churning, acidic pool. "Welcome to the stomach," said Professor Astro. The stomach acid was powerful, but the Bod Pod's shield kept them safe. After a while, a small door opened, and they were squeezed into a long, winding tube, the small intestine. "This is where nutrients are absorbed," the professor explained. "If stretched out, it's as long as a giraffe is tall." The kids watched as tiny particles of energy passed through the intestine walls. The body was absorbing everything it needed from the food. The journey was fast, fascinating, and a little dizzying. The Bod Pod moved along with the digested apple, deeper into Dave's body. They marveled at how the body turned food into fuel. Every twist and turn revealed something new. The digestive system was more amazing than they'd ever imagined. Suddenly, the Bod Pod was swept into a rushing red river, inside a blood vessel. "Those are red blood cells," Professor Astro explained. "They carry oxygen all over the body." The circulatory system was a high-speed delivery network, carrying oxygen, food and water to every cell. The kids heard the thumping of the heart growing louder. The Bod Pod was pulled into a powerful chamber, the heart itself. "The heart pumps blood through thousands of miles of vessels," the professor said. The kids watched as the heart's walls squeezed, sending them racing through arteries and veins. They saw red blood cells drop off oxygen and pick up waste. White blood cells and platelets zipped by, busy at work. The Bod Pod travelled to a fingertip and back, seeing the entire delivery system in action. Blood vessels branched and rejoined, forming a vast, living highway. The heart's steady thump-thump was everywhere. "Now the blood is carrying carbon dioxide to the lungs," Professor Astro added. The kids realized the circulatory system never stopped working. It was the ultimate delivery service, keeping the body alive. The bod pod was pumped into the lungs, two giant spongy organs. As Dave breathed in, oxygen rushed in, and red blood cells picked it up. The lungs were filled with branching tubes, ending in tiny air sacs, alveoli. If you spread out all the alveoli, they'd cover a tennis court, Professor Astro said. Oxygen entered the blood, while carbon dioxide left to be exhaled. Suddenly, Dave sneezed, "Achoo!" and the bod pod tumbled in a wild gust. The kids held on, amazed at the body's protective tricks. The respiratory and circulatory systems worked together, a perfect team. The bod pod left the bloodstream and entered a hard white landscape, the skeletal system. "You're inside a bone," Professor Astro announced. "Bones give shape, protect organs, and make blood cells." The kids saw bone marrow, the body's cell factory. Next, they observed thick, stretchy bands, muscles, pulling on bones to create movement. "You have over 600 muscles," the professor said. "Some you control, others work automatically." They watched a muscle contract, bending Dave's arm. Muscles worked in pairs, always moving the body. Even the heart was a muscle, never stopping. The kids realized their bodies were built for action. Every move was a team effort between bones and muscles. The bod pod's next stop, the nervous system, the body's control center. They followed a nerve, like an electric wire, up to the spinal cord and then the brain. "The brain is the world's most powerful supercomputer," Professor Astro said. Billions of nerves carried messages at lightning speed. The kids watched sparks of electricity zip along nerve pathways. When Dave wiggled his toes, a message flashed from brain to foot in a blink. The nervous system also sent warnings, like when touching something hot. Reflexes protected the body instantly. The nervous system coordinated everything, keeping the body running smoothly. It was the boss of all the other systems. The final stop, the immune system. The kids watched white blood cells battle invading germs, a microscopic showdown. With their mission complete, Professor Astro guided the bod pod out through a tiny sweat pore. The bod pod grew back to normal size, and the kids tumbled out, laughing. They buzzed with excitement, each sharing their favorite part of the journey. "The human body is the most incredible machine you'll ever find," Professor Astro said. The kids looked at their own hands, amazed by the worlds inside them. They couldn't wait to share their adventure, and all the wonders happening inside them every moment. Can you help us with the 3 magic clicks? Click like, click subscribe, and click share to make a friend's day.